Greetings. You are now tuned into the HittMobb podcast series, where we discuss the art, business, legacies, and lifestyles of music production with your hosts, David Vanderpool, known as Prestige, and Paul Hendricks, known as Baby Paul. Let's get to it.
What's going on? It's your boy Baby Paul, aka BPZ. What's good, bro?
What's good? It's your boy Prestige. What's going on?
And you're now tuned to the HittMobb podcast, man. Peace to the planet. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Listen, man. Considering the time frame that we came in this industry and the legends that we had the opportunity to work with, you know, legends like Big, Nas, AZ, Fat Joe. I know I want to
Jay-Z.
Yeah, absolutely. Jay-Z, wu-tang. I got a dialogue on this topic, man. I've been wanting to get on this topic for a minute. Mafia influence in hip-hop culture.
Yo, that's a big topic, bro.
Yeah. Hopefully we can cover it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can cover it, man. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna start with you, man. Like, okay, before making your name as Prestige as part of the Bad Boy Records Hitman producers, what were you listening to and what were you watching growing up that you remember that you see in hip-hop music culture that, you know, like inspired you or entertained you, either or?
What movies?
Start with the movies.
Of course, Scarface.
Number
one.
We all grew up on Scarface.
But here's my question about that.
Yeah.
Was it a good movie?
You know what's so crazy? Of course, Al Pacino, legend,
Yes.
amazing actor. Like, in terms of storytelling, it was dope because, you know, you saw the rags to riches side of it. You saw the rise from, you know, becoming super rich and powerful, and then, you know, the greed that comes from it and the ignorance that comes from it, because that's one of the things you see in the development of Scarface's character. Remember,
Yes.
he was an immigrant by way of, I think, Cuba, right?
Cuba, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? During a really political time.
Yes.
And, you know, he was getting it how he lived, and then got into the drug game. You know what I mean? First he was working for someone, and then he became the boss.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think in hip hop culture, we relate to that story. That's why people love that character so much.
The come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
the come up. Coming from nothing to something.
Exactly.
You know? And, you know, in urban music culture, like, that's just about everybody's story. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people came in the industry and was already super rich or super, you know what I'm saying, famous, and then became rap stars. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's always. That's why I believe that a lot of artists really connected to that movie
yeah, for sure.
because of the come up.
For sure.
But you didn't answer my question.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Was it a good movie? That's what you want to know.
Yes.
I think it was a good movie. In terms of storytelling, absolutely.
Is it
Acting
great?
wise,
Is it great? Is it timeless?
I can still watch it. So that says a lot, because if something stands the test of time, that means you can come back to it years after it was introduced. And I could watch it and be entertained, even though I know the whole story and I've seen it a few times. I could watch it from the beginning again.
So Scarface versus Goodfellas.
Hands down, Goodfellas. Hands down. Because again, we're gonna go as far as the movie aspect, and I just want to get to the point of what I was trying to say just now. With Scarface, you know, Al Pacino carried that movie.
Yes.
The majority. I mean, yeah, they had the action and the violence, but acting wise, hands down, he carried that movie. And Michelle Pfeiffer. Shout out to Michelle Pfeiffer. She did a thing too, you know what I'm saying, as an actress. I don't know if that was her first role ever, but it's the earliest role I can remember from Michelle Pfeiffer. But everyone else that was in there, their scenes are, you know, acting wise, you could see they're like new actors or not seasoned actors, you know, playing off of people like Al Pacino. So I feel like he carried the movie.
He
but
definitely
Goodfellas,
did.
everybody was killing it.
Oh, everybody was killing it.
Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, like the list goes on, man. That movie
Billy
was crazy.
Bass.
Yeah. Shout out to Frank Vincent. We'll get back into that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, okay. So we mentioned Scarface. What other movies? You mentioned Goodfellas. What other movies you think, you know, you came up on that you know was a strong influence in the hip hop music culture?
Well, Godfather.
Absolutely. So you got Scarface, you got Godfather, you got Goodfellas. I would say Carlito's Way, another.
Oh yeah,
Al
Carlito's
Pacino
Way,
movie.
definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Who else? What there's another? Because I mean, The Godfather's a series. It's like three.
Yes.
3 of them. But what other movies can you think of?
Blood In, Blood Out.
I forgot who the lead actor was in that, but
Damian Chapa.
Right, I remember that movie.
And I forgot. That was
Yeah, that was crazy.
in American Me.
Yeah,
those
American
came
Me.
out at the same time.
But you know what was interesting about those in particular? It wasn't really mafioso, like Italian mob type.
There was
thing.
more like Latin gangs.
Latin gangs and
Yes,
gangsterisms.
yes,
Yeah. But
yeah.
like, I would say like you coming up, which artist off the top you caught that was inspired by these mob films?
Oh, of course, the King of New York with Biggie, Frank White. He had a character called Frank White.
Yep. And
Yes.
King of New York is another classic.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken,
Wesley
early
Snipes.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah, Wesley Snipes.
yeah, that was a good movie.
Oh yeah.
It was-
No, I don't think so because I watched it again today. No,
You watched it
the other-
today?
No,
Really?
no, sorry.
Yeah,
I watched it like probably a week or two ago,
right.
and I said,
Was it because you know the story? If you had watched it now for the first time, you don't think you would have really engaged in it the same way? No?
I don't think it aged well because I guess when they edit the movie,
Mm-hmm.
it comes off when you watch it again, it's a little choppy
Right.
because of the jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we was kids, we just liked the action of it and the whole
Right. And the edginess of it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But as you get older, you see where after you saw a lot of movies, you would see like the imperfections of certain movies.
Mm-hmm.
How it doesn't flow like it needs to flow.
Right. I feel like in particular, like for specifically the Mafia movies, like the Scarfaces, the Goodfellas, the Casino. We can't forget
Casino, exactly.
Joe Pesci, you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
Joe Pesci, yeah.
But those are the movies that influenced a lot of hip hop culture in the 90s in particular
Of
as we
course.
was coming up. Because you think of all the artists and their aliases. You had Nas with Escobar, you know what I'm saying? Inspired by Pablo Escobar.
Exactly.
You had AZ, his alias was Sosa, which was from Scarface, you know what I'm saying? That was Scarface's boss at first.
And then you worked on this album with Fat Joe called Don Cartagena.
Yeah. Shout out to Fat Joe. It's funny
Yes.
because that was his first gold record. I got the honor to work with him and also the late great Big Pun, rest in peace, Pun. But I remember the album cover. You know, the album cover. It looked like he's coming out of courtroom for
Yes,
some type of case. You know what I'm saying? He got
Yes.
the suit on, the fedora. You know what I mean? And your man Puff was on that album. You know what I'm saying? He was on one of them singles. He was on that. He was one of. I got beat out by Puff on that single. So yeah.
What do you mean you got beat
I'm
out?
gonna tell a funny story. So when I was working on that album, I actually was recording in Staten Island, ironically, with Fat Joe, because he had a partnership with some Italians under a company called Mystic Recordings through Atlantic.
I remember that studio.
Yep. In
I
Staten
think I
Island.
went to that studio before.
Yep, in Staten Island. So I did a record that originally had like an R&B singer on it. I don't know if you remember this Latin female singer named Veronica. She had some music out back in that time frame. It reminds you of freestyle, potential pop. You know what I mean? She had a little bit of a name in that market, in that scene, and Joe put her on the hook originally on my record, and we sat with it, and he was just like, that's not it. I'm not feeling it. You know what I'm saying? It needs something. So he changed it, and you know, he was stuck on it. He changed the hook, took her off it, and he still didn't like it. So then he decided to just put Pun on the record. And then the Pun version is the version that we kept and put out. The only thing about the Pun record, I love the record, rest in peace to Pun, was that he was dissing Prince in the record, in the hook. Because he says, we've been doing this since Prince was the bomb, before he changed his name and started making whack songs. That's in the hook.
Oh, word.
Yeah, son. But, you know, it is what it is, man. So
Yeah,
shout out to
man.
Joe and Pun. But, you know, that show is called My World on the Don Cartagena album. But yeah, that Mafia influences in all of those guys, man. Joe, Nas, AZ, Big. Of course, wu-tang, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. Wu-Tang.
Gambino family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember it's Criminology, right? That with
Raekwon
and Ghost, right?
Yeah.
The beginning they used some of Scarface.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bing, bing. That record was crazy.
Then we have other collaborations. Coogee Rap.
Oh yeah. But G-Rap was just a different man. Like coming in the game from the 80s in hip hop to he had them gangsterisms from jump, you know what I'm saying? And I remember in particular the Symphony video with the whole Juice Crew, you know, he came out, you know, he had the suit on, the gun, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, man.
He was talking real tough, doing tough things, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I gotta shout Rakim too, you know what I'm saying? Early Rakim days, you know, Follow the Leader.
Follow the Leader video.
Eric B. and Rakim, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a real gangster look. They had what was in it? What was that car? I think it was supposed to be like an old time Cadillac or Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
I don't really know the old cars.
On the album cover, they're sitting on a Rolls, if I'm not mistaken. But in the video,
it was like an old like gangster like looking car.
Yeah. And,
that you could hang on. They was hanging on the side.
Yeah. It looked like, you know, Dutch Schultz and that type of stuff.
That
you know
era.
What I mean? Yeah. You know, but I feel like a lot of the 90s era, you know, they were inspired by a lot of those movies. You know what I mean? Like, as I mentioned, Frank Vincent from Goodfellas. You know what I'm saying? Nas had him in the Street Dreams video. He had the pink suit on,
yeah,
like he was
from Casino, right?
Yeah. Was it Casino?
It was Casino.
It was Casino. Yeah,
it was Casino. You're right. It was Casino. When he was like, he had his hand
covered his mouth.
That was
Robert De Niro's character. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
It's
funny. Like if we don't pay attention, we wouldn't have caught that. But I recognize him, and you recognize him. I remember you mentioned to me one day we was talking about that. You said something about The Sopranos. He was on Sopranos too, right?
Who?
Frank Vincent, the actor Frank Vincent.
Oh yeah.
He was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was his Phil? Phil was his character.
Man.
Phil was ill.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Sopranos.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Tretch did an episode on the Sopranos.
Oh, that's right. You said he was well, we was talking about this not too long ago. You said he was a rapper, because I don't know if I remember the episode. You said he was a rapper that wanted to act like he, you know.
No, he was a struggling rapper, struggling with his sales.
Right.
And
so he need to hype it up.
Yeah. He wanted to get some more street cred to sell some more records.
so you pretend to get shot or something?
Yeah, you wanted to get shot.
Oh my God, yo,
crazy.
That sound like it could really happen too. That sound crazy.
It's so true still.
Yeah, man. You know, but what about like the 2000s? What artists would you say was inspired by like the gangsterisms and the mafioso kind of, you know, crime family energy?
The 2000s?
I know we talked about Rick Ross.
Oh yeah, Rick Ross. Rick Ross, he did a cameo on this let me see, Rick Ross. He did a cameo on the show called, I forgot what it was called.
I don't know, because I know he did a series. He popped up in a series as a cameo, but I don't remember the name of it.
I remember the name of the character's called Butterball.
Right.
But I think yeah, man, it was.
Can't remember the name of the show though.
No, I can't remember the name of the show.
But you know, everybody knows the BMF record. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Blowing Money Fast. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Black Mafia family. Shout out to Big Meech.
Yeah,
welcome home, homie.
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And, you know, it was crazy. We never thought that 50 made a series out of the whole thing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I got to give 50 his credit, man, because, you know, coming from, you know, the music scene and coming from South Jamaica, Queens and transitioning into film and television. A lot of people don't realize he paid his dues, though, because he was in a lot of independent films on his come up, learning the film industry before he ventured into TV producing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. And you got, you mentioned Jay-Z, that he used a lot of like Mafia references.
Well, you look at the first album, Reasonable Doubt.
Yes.
Shot the Pain in the Ass. He was all over that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Okay, I reloaded. They got that from Scarface. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
And then I think he borrowed some scenes from Carlito's Way too. See, what was dope was Pain in the Ass in particular. He's a character, by the way, Latin cat. He was down with Rockefeller, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
And he used his voice because he had a look and voice that reminded you of Al Pacino. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
the, you know, who followed early Jay-Z's music. You know what I mean? And he did a lot of like ad libs and like, you know, interludes between the album song catalog on the first album, and was referencing stuff from those movies.
So who had actual ties to organized crime?
That's a good question. See, me, I can't speak on that. You know, some of these artists, you know, we can go as far back as, you know, early, you know, Jay, early Nas, Big. A lot of people said they had hood ties in different ways. I can't verify that. But you see your man Drake, he had a song called Mob Ties on one of his last albums.
Oh, yeah.
Mob Ties is basically saying, look, like, don't play with me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I may be Jewish, half Jewish, and, you know, light skinned, you know what I'm saying? And I may come across as not so tough in the music, but don't play with me. But I think I blame that on money, though, man. Let me tell you why I say that. Because a lot of these artists, especially in hip hop, not all of them come in the game solidified. They not made dudes, man. They just
of course.
They start getting famous and they start getting rich and they start feeling like entitled, like they can walk with that badge, like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm connected. Don't play with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But not everybody come in the game like that. There's some cats who are real dudes who come from the bottom that definitely got them type of ties and are built like that. Some people ain't built like that, man.
But, you know, the only thing that really kind of bothers me about all of this is that we use a lot of this in hip hop, right? Mm-hmm. But we never took the real advantages about being in that type of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Meaning that at the end of the day, most of them stuck together,
right?
And that never carried over to us as a people.
That's true.
And you have more like Latin. You have Latin gangs, and you know, you have more other cultures benefiting from these type of what's the word I'm looking for? Ideologies.
I was just gonna say the exact same word, and you took the words out of my mouth. Like, I feel like, unfortunately, man, in urban music culture in particular, and I honestly could say black people in particular, we don't stick together, man.
But there's some exceptions though.
Right.
Because I think the South was the first ones that showed me that there was more open.
There's more unity?
Yes, in the South than we ever had. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's clear, especially in the music scene. I can't speak about the streets, but in the music scene, people from the South definitely support each other. They lift each other up. You know what I mean? You know, the East Coast in New York, just from my experiences of being in this business since the 90s, it's every man for themselves, man. You know what I mean? We need more unity in the culture. You know what I mean? Whether it's street ties or not, you know, we need more unity in the culture. But,
you know, there is some kind of scattered unity because over here, oh, he a Bronx nigga. Oh, he Queens nigga. It's that type of unity we have.
Man, the borough wars existed from the 70s and the 80s, man. Like, you know, that's just a part of New York culture, period. You know, where you from was a definitive part of your character in terms of coming up in the game, coming up in the streets, coming up in music. You know what I mean? Queens cats mostly stick together, and in some cases they don't. Harlem cats all stick together from what I can see. Brooklyn cats stick together mostly for what I see. Bronx, I think it's a little bit of it's like people support each other that's from the Bronx, but you know, there's cats who come in and they kind of just in their own little zone and they kind of wait for you to blow. Then it's like, okay, yeah, I rock with you. You from the Bronx, I rock with you. At least that's how I see it. You know what I mean?
What about the West Coast?
West Coast is a whole other conversation, but we're gonna have to do a whole episode on that. But mostly West Coast cats unify, from what I see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's look at Kendrick right now. He done unified the West with the energy he done put out. You know what I'm saying?
You think he did?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you think he had the Bloods and the Crips just co-signing him like that?
I wouldn't even say specifically co-signing Kendrick, but I feel like, you know, his impact on the music scene forced a lot of people to start looking at themselves. Because rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. His passing, you know, being a staple and waving the West Coast flag, and then him passing away, the way he did within his own community, that wasn't a good look for the West, man.
It was not.
It wasn't a good look, and a lot of people was hurt and angry about that. So now that Kendrick is waving the West Coast flag heavy, you know, in terms of the energy he's putting out as an artist, the music, the creative direction of his music, I feel like a lot of people are more unified. Plus, he's putting people on. if you even look at that concert he had after he kind of won the battle with Not Like Us, it's like so many independent artists I never heard of. You see that. You see he's giving them a spotlight. So that gives them a reason to lift him up. Like, yeah, he's holding us down. Let's hold him down. You know what I mean? I would like to see more of that in the culture, no matter where you from, to be honest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I thought that's the one thing about Mafia culture that I respect. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Yo, they hold each other down. Like, if you're a made man, they play by the rules.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I could respect.
You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. Like, you know, if you're a made man, you're not supposed to be touched. And if there's a conversation that needs to be had about that, they're gonna have a meeting. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Facts.
So yeah, so we have. What about the romanticizing the crime and all this type of behavior?
That's a whole nother conversation. I mean, that's permeated in hip hop culture since probably the late 80s. I think the early 80s wasn't as prevalent, you know, with the quote unquote gangsterism in the music. But you know, the whole crime pays thing, it doesn't help the culture. It hurts it, in my opinion. You know, we need to have more people that care more about, you know, family, relationships, education, health, as opposed to just getting money and getting chicks and getting cars and getting jewels. You know what I mean? And just being respected in the streets. You know the whole drug deal ideology and all that. You know, I could say it's a catch-22 because unfortunately, a lot of people come up in the game coming from the streets and they just get it how they live to even put themselves in these situations. So that's why it's a reflection in the music.
So what is the street hustle versus the organized crime?
Street hustle?
Yeah, street hustle versus organized crime.
Street hustle is more money. Like, organized crime is business. Like, when I say it's more money, like doing whatever you can to get $1. That's street hustle. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Street corner hustling. But organized crime is like controlling situations, you know, like we ain't even gonna get too deep into that, but basically being in positions of power in certain places and controlling the narrative, that's organized crime.
That's true. That's very true.
And I think that aspect is what probably led to artists using mafioso ideology in their music, because they probably respect that. Being able to control a narrative. Being in positions of power in the right places to control the narrative, which in turn makes them money. Right?
That's true.
That's real.
That's really real, man.
I mean, I feel like in today's times, we don't see that as much in the music. You know, it's not as highly referenced in the music like it was in the 90s and early 2000s. Nowadays, you know, let's look at what exists within the culture, whether it's, you know, like the type of drugs that exist in the culture and the type of ways to make money on the street is different. So the conversation is going to be different.
That's very true. So what about, modern day example? Could you give me one?
Modern day example?
Yeah.
Let's just take...
Just artists.
Oh, artists?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, some of these artists who are dying taking these lean and the Percocet and, you know, like they're not surviving off of what's out there in the streets.
But one comes to mind is Griselda.
Okay.
Because, the name Griselda, that where that comes from.
And I just watched that documentary earlier this year.
Yeah.
To really, really know her story.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I watched the Netflix film too that was adopted by that actress. Forgot her name, from Modern Family.
Yeah.
Sofia Vergara, I think was her name. Yeah, I watched the movie she did. I think it was entertaining, but it was nothing like the documentary. The documentary was way better.
Hard. Yeah, it was hard.
Way better. Her story's crazy.
And what's the illest thing about that, right? Mm-hmm. In the Spanish culture, a woman could rise up like that. Mm-hmm. And it's accepted.
That's true.
I don't know if any other culture that we know of that could happen.
You got a point. They called her the godmother because
it was serious.
She was gangster, but she was like a mother figure to a lot of people.
Yeah,
especially people who come from these foreign countries that come to Miami or these parts, the places that she was making her name and her money and giving them jobs and opportunities and holding people down. So she became like a mother figure.
So you know what? Come to think about it, You remember the movie Hoodlum
Yeah.
with Larry
Lawrence Fishburne. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it had Cicely Tyson,
Right.
and she was playing like the madam, and she was like a West Indian, and she was like the mother of that whole scene back then.
Right.
And I had to dig more into the story to give you more context on it, because I remember that. And
Just that mother figure.
that mother, but it was a black
gangster.
woman. It was a black woman.
Yeah.
And I think she was running numbers or something like
I'm
that.
trying to remember what character was Larry Fishburne playing in Hoodlum. It was based on
Bumpy Johnson.
Right. There you go. And I feel like there weren't that many depictions in film of people from that time, you know, in the entertainment world. I think the only other exception was, I guess, the Frank Lucas character, you know, that Denzel played in American Gangster. Other than that, it was just the mob films that was the most heralded and most prominent films that we all appreciated in the culture. You know what I mean?
That's very true, man.
Yeah.
That's very true.
I just feel like, man, right now, in today's times, we just need new heroes, because I think the only way the music is going to be a reflection of the younger generation in a positive way is if we take information from things that have more truth to it, have more information to it. You know, like, I love watching documentaries, me personally.
Me too.
I learned a lot from that compared to just, you know, film depictions. Sometimes you watch a film depiction, like I was just saying in the case of Griselda, and I don't learn nothing from just the movie. I just get entertained. I learn something from the actual real story. You know what I'm saying? And going back to Griselda, I don't see, other than the name, anything in reference to her story in their music. Am
But
I wrong?
I guess they use a name because of what it was. But as far as them making the music, what do you think about their music?
Their music is dope. It's just straight hip hop. It's just straight, you know, like, they're the modern day version of what early Wu-Tang was. But I think, in my opinion, Wu-Tang had stronger song structure in their records.
I think they, you know, in order for them to really capitalize on their time right now, they need to just focus on trying to make at least one couple. They need to make some songs, because I guess that's the only way they could really see their career really lasted. Because I think that what they was doing was dope, but the big difference between them and Wu-Tang had joints.
Yeah, they had songs.
They had songs that we could always go back to.
Yeah. Like, shout out to Griselda. I mean, their creative direction is straight boom bap, straight lyricism and all of that. But I can't, and this is all due respect, I can't remember a hit song from any one of those guys.
Me neither.
Not one. Like, song where, like, from beat to song and hook structure, I can remember it and come back to it.
And remember, not to throw shade on any one of them.
Nah, no hate involved.
No hate. But remember, that's always needed.
Absolutely.
In order,
you and I put in enough work that we have a right to voice our opinion.
To know that part. Yeah, exactly. You know?
We've been in the game from the 90s on. You know, we done
yes.
produced Smith & Wesson, Black Moon, Helter Skelter, Nas, Big. So anybody that got a problem with my opinion, it is what it is, man.
Exactly, man.
Shout out to everybody, though.
and on that note, we have to be out.
Yeah, man.
But, you know, just, you know, leave us your comments on what's your favorite movie.
Facts.
And what is your favorite artist that represent what we talked about today.
And don't forget the HittMobb merch. HittMobb.com, baby. HittMobb.
MOBB. Don't forget that. Peace.
Peace.